Hello, everyone. I'm excited to welcome you all to another exciting Oxygen XML Live event. My name is Alim Belu, and I will be your host for today's webinar titled Techniques for Customizing the WebHelp Responsive Output. The need to customize the appearance of published documentation is something that is constantly being addressed by you, our users. As a solution, Oxygen WebHelp offers a predefined set of layouts and styles, resulting in several different customization methods or combinations of methods. So, to get you accustomed to these options, my colleague that you will get to meet in just a few moments, Alim Balasha, software developer at Syncrosoft, put together this comprehensive presentation that will walk you through some of the techniques available for customizing the WebHelp responsive output. Now, Aline has a lot of information to cover for today's event, so let me move on and share with you some useful information that you need to know when it comes to our live events. As always, all of our webinars are being recorded, so today's event makes no difference. After the webinar comes to an end, the recording will be made available on the event page on our site, oxygenxml.com, along with Aline's presentation slides and samples, and also the recording will be uploaded on our YouTube channel titled Oxygen XML that we encourage you to take a look at the impressive library over there that are in there for you to help you use our products. Another important aspect is that as we go along, we encourage you to ask us questions by using the questions panel from the GoToWebinar interface, where another one of our colleagues, Radu Pisoy, will assist us by answering to all of your questions in real time. And of course, we will be addressing the questions again at the end in a Q&A session for the benefit of everyone joining us today. With this being said, let me welcome to the virtual stage Aline Balasha. Hello, Aline.
Hello, I'm Alim Balasha. I'm a software developer at Oxygen. I am part of the team that develops the Oxygen publishing solutions. Also, I am one of the tech support guys who handles the WebHelp support tickets. The purpose of today's webinar is to explore some of the available customization options for the WebHelp responsive output. First of all, I will show you how to create a basic customization package. Next, we will configure the WebHelp transformation using some of the available parameters. After that, we will add some CSS styling to change the layout and the appearance of the generated HTML files. Next, we will enhance the WebHelp responsive output with some additional functionality. At the end, I will show you how you can change the order of the components that are part of the HTML output pages. First of all, let me say a few words about the WebHelp responsive output. It is one of the Oxygen's featured output formats. It can be obtained by transforming data resources using Oxygen Publishing Engine. Oxygen Publishing Engine is available both as the standalone product and as an integrating part of Oxygen XML editor and Oxygen XML author. WebHelp Responsive is a form of online help that consists of a series of HTML5 web pages. It offers a very flexible layout and it is designed to adapt to any device and screen size to provide an optimal viewing and interaction experience. The WebHelp Responsive features 4 page types. Each page contains a series of specific components. The main page is the home page generated in the WebHelp Responsive output. It provides links that help you navigate to the top level topics of your publication. A topic page is generated for each data topic referenced in the input data map. When a search operation is performed, the available results are presented in the search page. The last of the 4 page types is used to display the index terms declared in your data topics. The publishing process can be manually initiated from a transformation scenario within Oxygen XML editor or author. However, if you require an automated process that produces the WebHelp output, the same results can be obtained by running the transformation inside Oxygen Publishing Engine, which is a command line interface application. This means that you can use an integration server to run the transformation and publish the output. Oxygen Publishing Engine provides support for customizing the WebHelp responsive output to suit your specific needs. To change the overall appearance of your WebHelp responsive output, you can use several customization methods. The most basic way to customize the output is by configuring certain transformation parameters. In addition to this, you can style your WebHelp output through your own custom CSS files. Moreover, you can contribute custom HTML content and reference additional resources in the output files. If you want to change the HTML content generated for a certain component, or if you want to rearrange the components in the output pages, you can extend the default processing using XSLT extension points. The two images present how the output looks like when no styling is applied in the left part, and how it will look like when the customization is applied in the right part. The publishing template provides the primary method for customizing the output. It is a self-contained customization package stored as a zip archive or folder that can easily be shared with others. Each publishing template includes a descriptor file that defines all the metadata and the resources included in a template, such as CSS files, images, JavaScript files, and transformation parameters. The template descriptor file must have the OPT file extension and must be located in the template's root folder. The easiest way to create a new publishing template is to select an existing template in the transformation scenario dialog box and use the Save Template As button to save that template into a new template package that can be used as a starting point. Another way to create an Oxygen publishing template is to use the Oxygen Style Basket. This tool is a handy free to use web-based visual tool that helps you pick and mix aspects from predefined galleries. You can also create a publishing template from scratch. You can do this by creating a new folder that will contain all the template files. Next, you'll have to create a new publishing template descriptor file in this folder. For the purpose of this demonstration, we will create a template from scratch. So let's switch to Oxygen and let's create a new publishing template. I already have a directory containing several others templates, so I'll create a new one in this directory. First of all, we should create a new folder. This is the publishing templates base directory. All the resources of the template should be located beneath this folder. We cannot reference resources outside the templates base directory. So let's name the directory demo, and then let's create a new publishing template descriptor file. Oxygen offers a dedicated file template for this type of file. So when selecting new file, you can select the publishing template descriptor template, give it a name, let's say demo again, and then create. The created file also has some predefined metadata and resources already filled in for the purpose of this demonstration and for you to clearly see the structure of this publishing descriptor file. I will remove all the comments from this file. So I'll use one of the available refactoring operations. I'll select delete comments and finish. And all the comments are gone. First of all, we need to set a name for the publishing template. Let's call it demo. I will remove some unnecessary markup. The publishing descriptor file has a dedicated section for the WebHelp customization. Here you can reference resources contained in the publishing descriptor in the publishing templates base directory, and you can also set some metadata in the form of transformation parameters and others. Notice that my descriptor has an validation error. This is because it references a CSS file that does not exist yet. So I want to create a new folder. I want all my resources to be grouped in directories by their type. So I will create a directory for each resource type that I will add to my publishing template. For now, let's create a CSS folder. And here we should create a new CSS file. Let's call it main CSS because it will contain the majority of CSS style rules for our customization. After that, we should remove the broken link and link to our newly created CSS file. Now, after creating the basic this basic publishing template, let's use it in a transformation scenario. I will go in the data maps manager, open the configure transformation scenarios, select data map, the data map WebHelp responsive predefined scenario, duplicate it, set it a name first, and now I want to select the newly created template. I didn't add a preview image for my template, so this is why this broken image is displayed here. I will show you in a later step how to do this. Let's select this this template, click OK, and then let's apply the transformation scenario and see how the output looks like. We should wait for a few moments for the transformation to finish. And this is how the output looks like um, with this basic um, publishing template. You can see that there is almost no styling applied. So the next the next step that I want to perform is to configure a few aspects of the output through some of the transformation parameters. Configuring the available parameters allows you to control the output and obtain a basic customization. So using transformation parameters, you will be able to set a custom logo, for example, a custom fav icon. You can show or hide certain components. You can configure components, and you can also configure various aspects of the content generated for each topic. You can also configure the behavior of the built-in search engine, for example. The publishing template descriptor file contains a dedicated section for setting parameters. Now let's go back to our template and see how the transformation, how we can set a few transformation parameters. As you can see, the descriptor file contains a dedicated section for parameters where we can set some parameters. Um, I have already prepared a set of parameters that I want to set in my publishing template, so I'll copy them and paste them in the descriptor file. Let's fix this error. Parameters. Okay. So I want that the top level topics of my publication to be displayed as styles on my main page. I also want that the top menu to be displayed when the user clicks on one of the menu items. I want that navigation links to be generated for each of the topics contained in my publication. Also, I want the publication talk to contain links for all the topics that are contained by my publication. The publishing template allows you to declare two types of parameters. String parameters, like the ones we have already set, and file path parameters. Let's add a logo and a fav icon for our publication. So first, I must copy the two images in the publishing template folder. I should copy the two images created in advance. I want to create a new folder for the images resources. and paste the resources here. Now let's reference those files through their associated parameters. First, we want to reference the logo file. So I will enter the name of the parameter for the logo. Notice that that Oxygen offers content completion for the available parameters, and the value would be the relative path of the image. Next, let's reference the fav icon, and that this is in order for the publishing template to know that these parameters, the value of these parameters represent um, a file path and treat it accordingly, I should declare that the type of these parameters is file path. This way, the publishing template will know how to interpret these values. After setting these parameters, let's add a preview image for our publishing template to easily identify it in the um, templates lists from the transformation scenario. So there is a dedicated element for this. Save it, and let's open the transformation scenario to see. Look that the preview image that I have selected is displayed in this templates list. This way I can easily identify the publishing template. Let's run the publishing template, the transformation to see the changes we have made to the publishing template. We have to wait until the transformation finishes. Notice that the first level topics are displayed as tiles in the center of the main page. Also, the fav icon I have selected is displayed in the browsers tab. The logo file has been generated in the output, but it is not visible because um, its color matches the background color of the um, header section of the page. So the next action I want to do is to change the background color of the page. So to change the styles available, to change the styles applied to the HTML pages, you can use CSS. This is the most common way to customize the WebHelp responsive output. This method can be used to make small or even more advanced changes. The publishing template descriptor file has a dedicated section for declaring custom CSS files. The files referenced there are automatically copied in the output folder. My publishing template already references a CSS file, although it is empty. All I have to do now is to insert my style rules that will determine how my HTML pages look like. Let's change the background for the page header to make the logo image visible. So for this, I can use the browser's inspect tool to find the CSS rule that I need to override, or to find the appropriate identifier for the element I want to apply styling on. So I click inspect. I search for the header. I'll copy the relevant class name, and I can use this in my custom CSS file. But to test my custom CSS rule, I can use the browser inspect tool and declare the CSS rules right here to see uh, how the CSS rule affects the output page. So I will add a new CSS rule using the class name I have copied. I want to change the background color. So I have prepared the value for this. 1 second. You can use any color you like. This is one I have chosen for this presentation. Note that the uh, logo image uh, has become visible, but now the um, available elements, all other available elements in the page header are almost hidden, because now they are the ones that match the newly background color. So now I'll have to add a new rule to change the foreground color for all these elements. Also, I'll use the same class name, and because all these elements represent HTML links, I will select all the links within the page header and set a color accordingly. I want them to be white, so I set the foreground color, and all the links available in the header have become visible. For this stage of the demo, I have prepared a CSS containing all the styles that I want to apply to my uh, output pages. So I will go and find the CSS file containing the CSS rule I have prepared in advance, and copy all those style rules and paste them in my CSS file that is referenced in my publishing template. After saving it, I can transform again. Until the transformation finishes. I also want to tell you that I have prepared a dark variant for my customization. First, this is how the um, CSS styles that I have applied uh, um, have changed the appearance of my output page. The CSS is applied on all pages, on the main page, on each topic page, on the index term page. So uh, with just one CSS, you can style um, the appearance of all your pages. As I was telling you, I have also prepared a dark theme for my customization. I will copy it in the CSS directory from my template, and for the moment, I will comment out the previous CSS file and reference the new template, the new CSS file, sorry. Apply the transformation again and see how the newly chosen styles um, will change my output pages. So this is how my dark theme looks like. It is also applied on all output pages. Um, Now that we have created both a light and a dark theme for our output, I want to add a small widget in the page header, so my users could easily choose between the two display modes. This means that we will have to insert in each page an HTML fragment representing the theme switch. You can add custom HTML content in the WebHelp Responsive output by inserting it in a well-formed XML file that will be referenced in the Oxygen publishing template. This content may include references to additional JavaScript, CSS, and other types of resources. The XML file can use WebHelp macros, which are variables that will be expanded when the content of the HTML fragment file will be copied in the final output. By using macros, in your HTML fragment, you can localize a string, obtain values for environment variables, system properties, or transformation parameters. You can also format the current date and time. You can obtain the paths for different directories involved in the transformation process, or you can execute XPath expressions on the data map or on the current data topic. The publishing template descriptor files also offers a dedicated section for referencing HTML fragment files. Each referenced file will be associated with a certain placeholder that will determine the location where the fragment will be included in the page. Let's create the HTML fragment that will contain our theme switch. So let's go back to Oxygen. Let's create a new directory in our template. Let's say HTML fragments. Here I will create an XML file containing the HTML fragment that I want to be included in the output. Let's call it theme switch. And let's add the structure for the component that will be rendered as a theme switch. So I already prepared this content in advance. I will copy it and paste it in my newly created HTML fragment file. Here you can see I have a checkbox that will determine the state which will represent the light or the dark theme, depending on the state, depending on its state. So after defining the structure of the component, now I want to add an action that will perform the actual theme switch. For this part, I will need to create a new JavaScript file that will contain the action implementation. So I will create a new. Sorry, I want to create a new folder for the JavaScript resources. And then create a JavaScript file. Let's call it theme switch as well. Now let's copy the action implementation and add it. Um, it is a simple JavaScript code that switches the current theme based on the state of the checkbox that we created in our HTML fragment file. So once we created this JavaScript, we need to reference it in our HTML fragment file. So let's copy the fragment that will reference the JavaScript file and paste it in our HTML fragment file. Note that the path of my JavaScript file is specified using WebHelp macro, which is expanded to the path of the directory that will contain all the template resources in the output folder. Because this fragment is copied in each HTML page, and the HTML pages can reside on different levels of nested directories. The path I have specified here needs to be updated according to the location of the current HTML file where this fragment is copied. So you can reference additional resources in the HTML fragment file using WebHelp Macros that will ensure that the path to that resource is expanded correctly. Um, in this fragment, I have also referenced a font for the two icons that I will use as to represent the two states associated with the light and dark theme. Also, you can see that the HTML fragment file can reference both local resources and remote resources. Next, what I want to do is to apply a small CSS containing to the styles for the newly created component. So let's create a new CSS file in our CSS directory. Let's call it theme switch. Here I want to add the styles that will be applied to the checkbox. So I'll have to copy them from here. And I have to reference this file in the publishing template. So I have to go here. For now, I will remove the dark theme reference and enable the other one and add the reference to the theme switch CSS. Also, another thing I want to mention is that the local resources referenced in the HTML fragment files are not automatically copied in the output folder. We need to instruct the publishing template to do this. For this, uh, uh, you can use the dedicated section from the resources section of the publishing template descriptor file, which enables you to define file sets, which will determine which files will be copied in the output and which files will be skipped. For now, we'll have to copy all the resources inside the JS directory. So I can specify a pattern like this. After all these modifications performed, we also need to update the main CSS file to contain the styles for both themes, the light theme and the dark theme. So I have also prepared the combined styles for the two themes in a CSS. Let's update the content of our CSS file. As you can see in this CSS file, I have different style rules that are activated based on the current selected theme by the component that we will add through the HTML fragment file. Now, after saving this file, let's apply again the transformation scenario, hoping that I have not forgotten any step. Um, so as I was saying, it seems that I have forgotten a step, but don't worry, I already prepared an output uh, for that uh, customization step. This is how the output should have been rendered. Um, Here is the theme switch that I wanted to be inserted using my HTML fragment file. So when you click on it, the styles for the current page are changed and it is displayed accordingly. Now let's move on with other customization steps I want to perform. And now that we have implemented the theme switch, I want to make one last change to the layout of the output HTML pages. I want to move the search input that is displayed in the center of each page. I want to move it in this region, in the header section of the page. In other words, I will have to override the default XSLT templates that are used to transform the data input files. WebHelp exposes several XSLT extension points that can be used to change or to extend the default XSLT processing. There are XSLT extension points available for each output page. The XSLT extension files can be referenced within a dedicated section of the templates descriptor file. Another important thing to note at this step is that the structure and the layout of each page type is described by an associated HTML page layout file. The HTML page layout files are special HTML documents that contain placeholder for each WebHelp component inserted at a certain location within the document. Each placeholder will determine the location where the associated component will be generated in the final output page. The search input is one of these components. Let's start by creating a new XSLT file in our template directory. First of all, we will create a dedicated folder for the XSL resources. So let's go back to our template and let's create a new directory that will contain the Excel resources. Here I will create a new XLT file which will be used to override the search input implementation. So let's name it now we need to reference this XLT file in the publishing descriptor file. As said before, the publishing template descriptor file has a dedicated section for these resources. Here you can associate an extension file, an XSLT extension file. In our case is XSL move search in header, and we will associate it with um, an extension point ID. This ID will determine which page will be affected by our XSLT extension customization. First of all, we'll select the main page because the search input is available in the main page, the topic pages, and the search results pages. I will have to declare the extension point, the extension file with all these pages. Now, for the topic pages, this is the available XLT extension point, and for the search results page, um, now we need to identify the XLT template that is used to generate the HTML content for the search input. So one way to start the search is by going to our user guide. Here we can search for the available HTML components and see if there is some relevant information about the search input. So I have selected the first item from the search results, and this page um, offers information about the HTML page layout files I was telling you earlier. This page also lists the available component for each page. So for the main page, I have located the search input, and following the link, I now find out that the associated component that is used to generate the search input has this ID. I will copy this ID, and for the next step, I have linked the Oxygen Publishing Engine kit in my Oxygen project. So I will navigate to the Oxygen WebHelp Responsive plugin, and I will search for the search input component in the XSL directory. So I will click Find Replacing Files, paste the component ID, select the XSL resources, and perform the search. Luckily, there is only one result item. So this means that this must be the template that is used to generate the search input component. I will copy its declaration and paste it in my XSL file because this is the template I want to override. Note that there is a small validation error because the component name has a namespace. I will have to also copy the namespace declaration. So in the root of this XSL file, I should find that declaration, yes, and I should add it to my XLT file. And now we have created the premises for overriding the template that generates the search input. I have also prepared in advance the entire XLT code needed to move the search input in the header section. So I will have to copy it and paste it in my file. Note that this is the template we found earlier. It declares a parameter that is used to control whether the component is generated in the output or not. For the default processing, this component will be set on false, so the component will not be generated in the default location that it is where it is found in the HTML page layout file. And I have also created a template for the that processes the element where I want my component to be added. So here I will apply the same template that generates the search input, but this time the parameter will be set on true, and this will trigger the search input component to be copied in the destination element of my choice. So let's save the XLT file, and um, before applying the transformation, I should also add a small CSS that adds some additional style rules for the search input in the new location. So I will paste the additional style sheet. Here you can see that um, there are a few CSS rules that will adjust the styles for the CSS input to better fit in the new location. So I'll have to also reference this CSS file in my publishing template. So after that, we should apply the transformation scenario. But in order to save time, I will show you how the output will look like after applying the um, uh, the last customization we have created. So uh, this is how the search input looks like when it is moved in the page header. The customization has been applied also for the topic pages and for the search results page. Another way to change the structure of the generated HTML pages is by customizing the HTML page layout files. WebHelp allows you to reference a copy of the default HTML page layout files in the publishing template. You can then customize these files to determine the final layout of your HTML pages. You can change the location of certain components. You can decide to remove some of the components, and you can add additional HTML content. Also, although this is a valid customization method, we do not recommend customizing the HTML page layout files, because if you upgrade to a newer version of Oxygen, those files may no longer produce the desired output. Thus, if new components have been added or default layout has been changed, you won't have access to those modifications. So this is why we do not recommend to copy the HTML page layout file in your publishing template, but because it would make the upgrade process harder when a new version of Oxygen or Oxygen publishing engine will be available. Let's see how we can move the search component using this method. First of all, the easiest way to obtain a copy of the default HTML page layout files in a new publishing template is to export an existing template. You can also copy those files manually in your templates directory and reference them in the templates descriptor file. So I will export one of my templates as a new copy, and to do this I will have to edit the transformation scenario, go to the templates tab and select the template I want to export. Then I'll have to press the Save Template As button. Here in this dialog, I need to provide a name for the template. So let's name it Demo2. And the most important action I should take if I want to have the HTML page layout files copied in my new copy of the publishing template is to select this option. This will copy the default HTML page layout files in my new template, and it will also reference them in the publishing template descriptor file. Next, I will have to select a location. Let's name the new template Demo2. The new template will be saved as a zip archive. So if I want to make some changes to the exported HTML layout files, I need to unzip the contents of this archive. So let's do this. I will delete the archive, and I will only work with the extracted template. So as you can see, the new template has a new directory that contains all the HTML page layout files, as opposed to the uh, publishing template that was used as a source for this export, which does not have this directory. So let's go back to our customization. We want to move the search input from its default location to the header section of each page. Let's do this first for the index file for the main page. Here is the placeholder for the search input. I will remove it from its original location and open the header section of the that is included in each page, and I want to add it at the end of the top menu. So I think, yes, here is the perfect location for the search input. I will remove some unwanted content that I do not want to be generated in the header. Next, I will have to remove the search input from the other two pages that contained it. This is the search results page layout file, the search results page. I removed it, and now the topic page is deleted as well. All I have to do now is to use this template in my transformation scenario and see if the output looks the same as the one generated with using the XLT extension customization. First, I want to add the styles for the search input, and reference that CSS in the templates descriptor file. Save it and edit the transformation scenario. Select the new template demo2 and click apply. And now we have to wait again for the transformation to finish. This is the generated output. As you can see, we have obtained the same customization using two methods. One is the XLT extension file method, and one is the um, editing of the HTML layout, page layout files. Having this said, we have reached the end of this presentation. As a conclusion, you have seen that the output obtained by transforming data input files to WebHelp responsive format is extensible and customizable. You can combine all the presented customization methods to obtain the desired appearance and functionality for your WebHelp output. Thank you.
Thank you, Aline, for your comprehensive presentation. So let's move on to the questions panel and see what the audience members have asked during this live webinar. First question. I want to add the last modified date and time after the topic content. Can we do that?
Yes, we can. You can use a custom HTML fragment to insert that content in your HTML pages. As said before, the HTML fragment file allows you to use WebHelp macros, and one of the available macros is allows you to um, format the current date and time. So using this technique, you can insert the current date in your HTML pages.
Thank you. Let's move on to the next question, which is it possible to move the search input before the header section?
Yes, of course. Um, in my customization that I presented, the search input was moved next to the top menu. Let's see. But using the same technique, you can move it anywhere in the um, uh, page. So yes, it can be moved there.
Okay, let's go to the next question. And let me remind our members of the audience that they can still ask us questions. So question number 3, regarding your customizations, how can we add these customizations to a plugin? A plugin can be installed in Open Toolkit, in an open toolkit that is not part of the Oxygen framework, such as on a CMS server.
You can, of course, you can implement any of these customization methods using a plugin, but I don't see why you do that, because the publishing template is a self-contained package that can be used together with the WebHelp transformation in any DTAUT environment. So uh, the answer is yes, you can achieve these customizations using a plugin, but it is not necessary to do that, because you can achieve you can use the publishing template as well.
Thank you, Aline. As you can see, we ran a little bit over our presentation time, but fear not, if you have any other questions that are more complex, we will be answering them by mail. Oh, just another. Oh, some new questions have appeared. How do I add topic update date rather than build date?
Um, you can do that. Um, I think we have performed this customization in the past. Um, you can do this also using the HTML fragment file by using the macro that allows you to perform XPath expressions to apply XPath expression over the content of each topic file. So I think Saxon has some extension functions that allows you to query the last modification date and time of a file. So you can use the HTML fragment together with the XPath macro um, to query the last modification file, the last modification date of a file, and insert that in the generated output.
Thank you. I can see that our audience is still very engaged with your presentation, Aline. So let's take a couple more questions that are just arriving. The publication template, can it be used for lower versions of Oxygen, for past versions of Oxygen?
Yes, I think we have introduced the publishing template somewhere in the um, 20 version of Oxygen, so version 20 of Oxygen. So yes, it can be used up to that version, up to so back to um, Oxygen version 20. So, but it has been improved over time, and some of the customization possibilities that you can achieve in the latest version of Oxygen might or might not be available in older version. We have to you have to test that, but overall the publishing template is available since Oxygen version 20.
Is it possible to customize a responsive footer for WebHelp?
Yes, this is the WebHelp. This is the footer section here, but it can be also customized by using um, an HTML fragment file that will allow you to insert uh, any content of your any content you want to add there. So yes, it can be customized.
Okay, and the final question, I'm sorry. Are the demo files going to be available for everyone to look at after the presentation will be over?
I think you already said that in the um, at the start of this presentation.
Yes.
All the resources will be available and can be downloaded from the event page on our website.
Actually, I will be taking control just to remember everyone that the recording of the event will be featured starting tomorrow on the event page that you can see right now, along with Alin's slides and samples as he just mentioned. And of course, if you have feedback for his presentation, or if you have any comments or follow-up questions, you can use the Oxygen feedback um, comment commenting component that you can see here, and that is very, very easy to use. Now, going back, let me tell you a little bit about our upcoming events. We have another one planned for you for next week, next Wednesday on April 6th. Open API editing, testing, and documenting, where we will meet again Octavian Nadolo. And during this live webinar, you will discover the support offered in Oxygen for Open API documents, as well as how to create, edit, test, and generate documentation for Open API documents. So we will be expecting you next week. And also, we encourage you to take a look at our events page, where you can also find the links to register for free to all of our future events, and see on what occasions you can meet the rest of the Oxygen XML team. Now, reaching the end of our event, let me thank Alim Balasha again for sharing with us his comprehensive information. So thank you, Alim.
Thank you.
And also a big thank you to Radu Pisoy for helping us with the audience's questions in real time behind the scenes. So big, big thank you. And of course, I am incredibly grateful as always, and I'm thanking you all again for succeeding in joining us uh, for this week's live Oxygen event. So until next time, stay safe and have a nice day or evening. Bye bye.
Bye.